mastering perfectly all styles of boxing performance, from drama to clowning.
Against Glenn Kelly of Australia.
And still, Roy continued to amaze. The Australian Glenn Kelly probably still believes that Jones has at least 4 hands, because Roy Jones defeated him by knockout in the 7th round. What is the main thing after many years people remember about this fight? That it was the same battle in which Jones put both hands behind his back and then knocked Kelly out with a lightning blow to the head. Roy Jones Jr. versus Richard Hall. May 2000, the Conesco Fieldhouse, Indianapolis, Indiana, USA. It was one of Jones's most mocking fights.
Kill yet. Yeah, he was rocked from that. There he comes in. Oh, right hand by Roy Jones. Another right hand. The crowd going wild. He's third. Left hook. A left hook drops him. He never saw it coming. This guy is number 1. He could be a champion. Big right hand. Oh, he's down for the right hand. Roy Jones Jr.
In the first round, he twice knocked the enemy down. After that, Jones slowed down and began to beat the enemy without seeking a knockout. He had a large percentage of net hits. In the 11th round, the mockery reached its climax. He carried out several successful attacks, including somersaults. HBO commentators began to resent the actions of the referee, who did not stop the fight. After Jones drove Hall into the corner and began to score, the referee finally stopped the fight. After the fight, commentator Larry Merchant said that Hall was savagely, brutally beaten. Roy Jones Jr. versus Montel Griffin, match number 2. August 7, 1997. This was a rematch with Griffin. The first time they met was on March 21st of the same year, and the fight ended with Jones's disqualification. Let's look at what happened in the first match. In the 9th round, Griffin, after attacking Jones, decided to squat down on his knee and wait out the attack. Roy, apparently believing that Montel was faking a knockdown, inflicted a couple more blows on his opponent, who was resting on his knee. Roy was disqualified.
That he thrives and will continue to thrive on being underestimated.
Let me tell you, that first left hook hurt Griffin.
And so does the second one. And Mercanti calls it a knockdown.
The situation before the revenge match was already heated and hyped to the limit by the media. Jones came out angry and decisive. He knocked out his opponent at around 2 minutes, 31 seconds of the first round. Later on, Jones often stated that he had been cheated of victory in the first fight.
And that's that. Jones gets his vindication via a first-round knockout.
And it was a left uppercut.
Unbelievably quick left-hand shots. A barrage of them in round 1 by Jones.
On June 24, 1995, at the Atlantic City Convention Center in New Jersey, IBF super middleweight champion Roy Jones Jr. from Pensacola, Florida, defended his title against IBC super middleweight champion Vinny Pazienza of Cranston, Rhode Island. Jones was unbeaten at 28-0. Pazienza was 40-5. The fight was scheduled for 12 rounds. Jones at the time was one of the best fighters in the absolute weight category, while Pazienza was in the midst of his return after a neck fracture received 4 years earlier in a car accident.
They want those loose ropes. And Vinny Pazienza was almost on our lap.
I haven't seen this. But in the meantime, it's Jones doing all the effective work. And Jones chasing Vinny Pazienza. About a half minute left to go here in round 4.
These are slashing jabs by Jones.
And I think
The fight was held in the super middleweight, and the IBF world belt was at stake. Of course, it was extremely difficult for Pazienza to defend against this brilliant boxer who was in the best condition. Despite using all of his natural dexterity, sharpness, and resourcefulness for the time being, Vinny was able to hold off Jones until the 6th round.
There you go. Just keep doing what you're doing, baby. Looking good. Good control.
After which, Jones managed to get Pazienza using his technical skills. After this early defeat, Vinny took a break of more than a year.
From being it.
there is a bucket. That's another knockdown.
Face off in safety here because he's tired and he is wide open.
In April 1998, Roy Jones met with Virgil Hill at the Coast Coliseum, Biloxi, Mississippi, USA.
And he lands a right hand over the top. Another right hand. You can't do damage to me. And Hill still trying to keep his glove on Jones. And Jones lands a left. Now there's a combination. Jabbing right hand. Hill lands a right hand at Virgil Hill's head. And it's hurting Virgil Hill, no question. So far, it's Jones's power over Hill's jab. Whoa! Right to the body, down. Unheard of.
In the middle of the 4th round, Jones connected a right hook to the opponent's core. Hill, cowering in pain, fell onto the canvas. He rose, but at the count of 10, he was still unrecovered. The referee recorded a knockout. The fight received the status of Knockout of the Year, according to the Ring magazine.
Been knocked out. Roy Jones did it with a right hand to the body.
On January 9th, 1999, at the Civic Center, Pensacola, Florida, USA, a fight was held for the WBA and WBC Light Heavyweight World Championships between champion Roy Jones and the challenger for the title, Richard Frazier. It was Roy's 3rd time defending his WBC title and the 2nd WBA title defense.
Any questions? Touch gloves. May the best man win. This is
No offense, no defense. He has nothing to punch for.
Down goes Frazier. And leads with the left out of the southpaw. Staying from punches even in the 16th foot range. Because again, he doesn't give you anything to punch off. Left hook stuck Frazier.
The result was a victory for Jones by TKO in the 2nd round.
decides that that's a good moment for stopping the fight.
Well, this is an early stoppage state, as we saw in our last.
Roy Jones Jr. versus Tony Thornton. A spectacular victory over Williams allowed Tony's team to organize a fight with the popular Roy Jones. The fight took place on September 30th, 1995. From the very beginning of the battle, Jones showed complete superiority in speed, reflexes, and the accuracy of his punches.
Thornton not quick enough to stop Jones's combinations, and now Thornton.
In the third round, Tony was knocked down.
It was before the bell. It was before. In power like this are rare to see. It's like a combination of going for him. Quickness, speed, and power. He puts on another, what, 45, 50 pounds of muscle? I wouldn't want him. Thornton in trouble. Can't punch back. That'll do it. The referee did him a big favor.
In October 1996, Jones entered the ring against the undefeated Bryant Brannan in Madison Square Garden, New York, New York, USA.
We told you about Brannan's across the ring and launches a wild right to the body, and Roy Jones stands in a peekaboo as Bryant Brannan throws about 8 good left hooks.
In the middle of round one, after a series of headshots, Jones sent Brannan to the canvas.
Here we go.
Brannan was led to the side, and at the count of 6, he was able to get up. Jones, mocking the enemy, continued to beat him.
Trouble for the moment, staying on his feet. Referee watching closely. Jones blinding Brannan with his overwhelming hand speed. He gloves, and at least it gives him the right to throw a lot of punches, which not too many people can do against Jones. But he's getting hit so much in return.
In the middle of the second round, Jones struck his opponent with his left hook to the left side of his jaw and sent Bryant to a knockdown for the second time. Brannan again got up by the count of 6.
Bomb in there. The Trenton crowd can't believe what they're seeing. They're so psyched for the possibility of Bryant putting up a big fight against Roy.
Jones rushed in to finish him and drove him into the corner. After a series of powerful punches, he suggested that the referee stop the fight, but the referee refused. Then Jones conducted another series of punches. 2 more to the head sent Brannan into a heavy knockout. Brannan lay on the floor for several minutes. After that, Jones rose to light heavyweight.
He stepped away and looked at the ref as though he didn't want to hurt Brannan and said, "Must I do this?" And the ref says, "Yes, you must." And Roy says, "Okay." And he starts.
Roy Jones Jr. versus Thomas Tate. The meeting took place on May 27, 1994 in Las Vegas, Nevada, USA. At the time, no worthy opponent could be found for Jones. Often matches were lost before the end of the first round. They lost morally. Therefore, before the fight with Jones, Tate in every way possible insulted his opponent and promised a big show. But in the ring, everything turned out completely different.
Man's at all times. Shake gloves and good luck.
Dog time, baby.
All right, we're ready to go, obviously.
In the first round, Thomas aggressively pressed Jones, but Roy struck his opponent, forcing him to miss. This made Tate slow down.
So he's getting some good content. He's getting. The hand speed of Jones is the big difference here, and would figure to be
Different story.
Yeah, you got to produce in the ring, and the hand speed of Jones giving Tate lots of problems. Even when Jones is against the ropes in the corner, which is not a place Roy Jones normally wants to be. Just the hand speed, and you can see it really makes a huge difference in this fight.
Well, left hand scored. There's an uppercut as well by Roy Jones Jr. in the black trunks, and another one.
At the start of the second round, Roy escaped another attack by Tate, and in turn inflicted an exact hook on his jaw, from which Tate fell onto the canvas.
Down goes Tate. Wow. Was an inside left. He's on the corner rope standing.
He managed to rise at the count of 7, but was clearly stunned. Tate's manager decided to remove his fighter from the battle, despite Thomas wanting to continue. Roy Jones had successfully defended his world title.
His 6th career second-round knockout. Tate just walked right into that inside left.
On March 22, 1994, Danny Garcia tried his luck in the ring against Roy Jones and was severely punished for his absurd attempt to challenge Jones's rightful leadership.
That graphic demonstrating the total domination of Roy Jones. Oh, good left hand, John. Good left hook, John. And he stays on his feet, rolling around. Trying to dodge the punches, Garcia. But he didn't dodge that one.
It is believed that during this battle we saw one of Jones's most unusual knockouts, with Roy working Garcia against the ropes. Garcia attempted to use the ropes to support himself after each blow, but to no avail. This has been the World of Boxing channel. Thank you for watching. Which one of Roy's knockouts impressed you the most? We are looking forward to hearing from you in the comments. See you next time.